All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. You know what? We're in the summer, so this is our last Friday that we're going noon, and then we're going to be moving this to Tuesdays because I know everyone's out in the sunshine where you should be, so I'm not offended if no one's going to watch. You'll just watch the replay. But I have with me Christina Cruz, and she's all the way from Oregon, for those of you who are with me in Canada. I'm just going to check on our Facebook page to make sure. And so we're going to be talking today about how to find joy in the midst of chaos, stress, pandemics, racial divide, like everything that's going on in the world today, where everyone is heightened and not maintaining their normal level of, let's call it, repression. Everyone's hitting their shit. It's all coming up to the surface. It's all bubbling. We're foaming at the mouths. We're fighting with our husbands, our spouses, fighting with our children. We're annoyed with people in public because God forbid someone coughs or sneezes around us. We're like all up in arms, and
what are you doing?
We're not enjoying life right now. Like, we're not finding the joys and the happiness, right? Like, we're tired of being stuck inside with our family. We're not liking them very much right now. So what do we do? And Christina's an expert on this, and she's going to talk to us about, you know, the whys we're struggling maintaining joy right now. So happy you're here, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. So go for it. Let's, you know, and you have fantastic techniques, and you talk about, you know, we were just chatting before we came on here about, you know, so many things about the love deposits and emotional bank accounts. And, you know, like, you know, why are we struggling finding joy right now?
Well, I think right now we are still living in very uncertain and unsettling times. And when, as human beings, when things are unsettled, we tend to have these negative emotions, and we need to find a way back to restoring our balance when things are unsettled, and finding that center, finding that core. You know, at least here in the States, we are getting such mixed messages. And I hear this from clients, like, I don't know what to do. Like, when I'm going out and about, I don't know what to do. You know, the president says one thing, the state might say another thing, local officials might say another. Like, no wonder we're all confused and don't know what to do. And that brings a lot of negative emotions, a lot of energy. And so we have to kind of find that center within ourselves. And that requires us to go deep and to ask ourselves, well, what do I feel? You know, just I think it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, our governor was kind of giving her State of the Union address and going through all of the districts here and like what to do for each district. And she didn't mention mine. And I'm like, wait, I mean, we don't have a lot of cases. I'm like, hello, what's going on? What's going on? Like, what about us? What about us? And then it was, well, what feels right to me? What feels right to my family? You know, so we don't have a lot of cases here in our city, in our town, but I had to decide, well, do I wear a mask or do I not wear a mask? What feels right to me and what doesn't feel right to me, you know? And that's not a comfortable place for a lot of people to go to tap into their intuition.
No, and I think for so many people, where we've been given permission right now, you've been given a great amount of permission to do you and what you feel is best for you and your family, which is amazing. And yet people are still freaking out because they've never been given that level of freedom before. What do you mean? I can say no. I can say no to my family. I can say no to going grocery shopping. I can say no to, you know, doing all these things. And we're like, yeah, have fun with it. And people are still comparing to what other people are doing and judging.
Right. And guilt. And
okay, you know what? Maybe it's time that we just shut out, but we've been inside and now we have to go outside.
Right. Yes.
And so, you know, what are the things that people are fried? They're tired of worrying. They're tired of, you know, fighting with their spouses now. They're tired of like arguing with their kids to do the homeschooling. Like they just want to hang out with their friends and drink. Right? That's all they want to do right now. But what else can we do to kind of put some peace and balance and joy back into our lives
Well,
before
I
we turn
think
into raging alcoholics and
um,
because we're not doing anything.
I would definitely, I mean, where I like to start, I mean, and where I go are back to basics. And there's a number of basics that we can go over, and I'm sure you've already addressed this in your group. But one place that we can go is our basic emotions.
Mhm.
I like this quote or this phrase from Dan Siegel, where he talks about name it to tame it. And so just calling attention to, I am tired, or I was just talking to a friend yesterday. Her son has been kind of moping around and angry. He's a teenager. He's a graduating teen. So he missed his graduation. He missed his prom. It's like, no wonder he's irritable and grouchy and angry and doesn't want to hang out with the family anymore because I'm tired of you guys, and his whole world was turned upside down,
I
you
do
know.
feel it's been hardest on kids for
I do
sure.
too. I agree. Yes, and so naming it, and so it's like his whole world again was turned upside down. So yes, what he's displaying is anger, but let's go a little bit deeper. And we started to peel back the layers, and he's sad. He's sad that he misses his friends. Like, for teens, those are their lifeline,
Yeah.
and that was taken from them.
And they might
So
not have the skills and tools to, because they've never
right.
really experienced these emotions before, right?
No.
We've never even experienced this before. So it's
Right.
new for them, right?
Right. So I like to just name it. Let's just call it what it is. We are
Yeah.
upset. We
Mhm.
are angry,
It sucks.
It
Like,
sucks. Like, allow us to be that way, because sometimes I hear from people like, oh, we should just be grateful. We should be grateful that we're alive. We should be grateful that we're not frontline workers or things like that. And yes, that is true. But if we move too quickly into that, that negates our experience.
it's true because we're not all going to have the same emotions because we're all different human beings with different experiences, right? So
Right.
what might be not shitty for me might be really shitty for somebody else.
Right,
So,
exactly,
but it's still
exactly.
crappy. So by you negating someone else's feelings, like, oh, don't feel bad. You should feel happy that you don't
Yes,
have COVID,
yes,
is also negating other people's feelings too. So let's
right,
honor everyone's feelings, right?
right. And that's, it's interesting because we were talking about, as you say, that, um, if that has been our pattern, our family of origin pattern, where it's just don't think about it, or basically pushing away emotions. As adults, no wonder it's hard for us to tap into our intuition, because for so long we were told, don't feel that way, don't feel that way. What, I'm parent, I know better, so you need to listen to me, child. So
Mhm.
it's again, it's removing us from our core and our center and our intuition. So as adults, no wonder it's hard for us to even know what we feel. So I see this a lot. Well, I don't even know what my intuition is saying, or I can't even trust my intuition. Well, no wonder, because our family of origin has been telling us to do something of the opposite of what we
Yeah.
already naturally feel. So I'm just,
Mhm.
when you said that, I just thought about, why is it so hard for us? Right. So, but going back to, so naming it, experiencing the emotion, just call it what it is. I see people again going to, well, so and so has it worse than I do, so that, again, like,
We
let's
should be
stay there.
grateful.
let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just stay there. So I like to recognize what we're feeling, recognize the emotion, so that we know how to regulate it. Okay, so maybe there's a lot of energy. I'm feeling really frustrated. What can I do with this energy within inside of me? So for me, I am in our spare bedroom / office, and I took out the bed because I thought, well, no one's going to be visiting us anytime soon, and I need some space. And so when I'm working, sometimes I need to literally take a break and do some squats or do some jumping jacks, because I know that I've been working too long, or I need a break. Physically, I need to do something with this energy. So I've kind of cleared this space, or sometimes I'll just drop into child's pose and I need to do some grounding techniques, so that's kind of where I've been, like, leading clients with, is recognizing how we're feeling, and then what can we do to, in a healthy way, regulate that emotion.
Mhm.
What do we do with that emotion? Now that we've recognized it, what do we do with it?
Because it's
um
just energy.
It's just energy. We got to let it
Trapped
run through
energy.
us. It's trapped energy. We got to let it run through us, you know?
Hmm.
And so, but right now I think is a time where we really need to make action, concerted action to do something with that energy.
Hmm.
And that might mean taking a break. That might mean scheduling a walk. Like I've literally had to put in my calendar workout,
Hmm.
15, 20 minutes. And when the alarm goes off, I have to do it, you know, and sometimes I'm like, ah,
That's important because I think that we've lost so much structure
yes,
that we have to actually like parent ourselves. We have to actually have
right.
to, there's no bosses, no jobs telling us
Yes,
what to do anymore, especially if you're working from home. So now you have to literally
right,
parent
right.
yourself because we need routine
Oh,
ultimately.
yeah.
That's
I
how we
mean,
thrive and structure
yes.
most. And I
And
guess
it,
that it's
cre-
okay to have let it go and just been and just be like
yeah,
fault and be in the shit. But now that we're,
yes,
we have to reclaim ourselves again. We have to like get back to functioning healthfully, right? So that
yes.
this doesn't turn into, a real long-term, like let's call it a depression even, right? Like,
Right, right, exactly. And it creates that safety as much as we are trying to keep our kids on schedule and routine and structure
yeah.
because we know that that's what they need. Well, we need that equally,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, absolutely. So doing a lot more of the things, the other thing that I've been working on with clients is what I call my and we talked about our my self-love bank account,
Hmm.
so those are the things that do bring us joy, like getting outside in nature, that brings me joy, right? So the way I like to describe this to clients with the bank account analogy is thinking about our deposits, so those are the things that light us up, those are the things that give us back our energy and are rejuvenating, so whatever that is. Could be face mask. It could be going on a walk with a friend if you're able to do that where you are. Just all of the things, noticing. I think that's another part is noticing what does fill you up rather than actually just doing it. It's like, okay, I checked it off. Like I did my eye mask, like great, fine. No, but how do you feel doing that? So
Yeah, like did you do it because you wanted to, or just because it was like the top 10 thing on the Facebook list
yes,
that said you should do that? Like,
exactly, exactly.
you have to be
Yeah.
unique to you.
Right, right. Like I was talking to a group of people and I said, I can't right now. Cooking doesn't bring me a lot of joy. It just doesn't. Some before the pandemic, it kind of did, but now it's like, I don't want to make another meal right now. Something about it just feels different. And I'm okay with it. Everyone was like, oh, cooking is like my joy.
Oh,
It's
you don't
my
want to bake
therapy.
bread
And
and
don't you want to make bread and do all of these things? And I'm like, not really. No,
yeah.
it doesn't fill me up. So, but it is one of those things where I check it off my list and that's okay. But that's not a deposit for me.
Right.
So,
That's
and
a
then
withdrawal.
for me, it is a withdrawal. So then recognizing what are those withdrawals? What are those things that are taking up so much energy? What is depleting me of my energy and
Mhm.
mental capacity and emotional capacity, right? And so, we can put in there pandemic. We can put in racial divide. Yes. We can put in spouse. We can put in job. We can put all of those things and recognize that, yes, those are depleters. But what I like to do with clients is, okay, now let's like unpack that a bit more, right? So for me, I'll use myself as an example, when Black Lives Matter really hit, I took it, I absorbed it as an empath, and then I recognized, I mean, obviously, like human rights is an issue for me, but it wasn't that I had to unpack that a bit more. What was it about this movement that is impacting me so much?
Like
And I
personally.
realized
Yeah. Yeah.
personally, why is it? Because it is still a depleter, but what is it? Because I could just say it's that. But when I really unpacked it a bit more, I realized that I realized the racism that's in my family. I realized all of the times that I stayed quiet, all of the times that I abandoned myself, my needs, my values, So for me, it was, oh, all of the times in my life that I have not used my voice, I have not set boundaries with family members, especially like my elders. You know, it was kind of like, oh, they're just, you know, they're elders, it's okay. No, it's not okay. For me, it wasn't okay. So it was
Yeah.
all of those times where I didn't speak up, I didn't set boundaries, I didn't say
You
no.
allowed. It's
I
you
allowed
allowed.
it. I
You know
allowed
what? I
it.
so honor you saying that. And so that depleted you. It depleted so many people. And I think
Right.
everyone had a personal experience with all of that because you
Right.
couldn't shift out of it if you didn't, right?
Right, right, exactly. And that's the same thing, you know, I look at with clients, you know, I tend to work with executive level women and I tend to see, you know, like, oh, it's the boss. Oh, it's the boss. But they have the same patterns with their boss as they do romantic partners. So
Right.
is it the boss? Could be, because sometimes the bosses are just jerks and that's fine.
Mhm, mhm,
But is it that you are not setting boundaries and saying no? And you're saying yes when you really need to say no, or
mhm,
you're not utilizing your resources like you can.
mhm.
So it's those are the things that really rob us of our joy, of our spark, of our happiness, you know. Um, so yeah, that's definitely something that I work with and unpack a lot more with clients because that is a big source of unhappiness
Mhm.
are those depleters.
Yes, and we project them, right? And
Mhm.
so, for you guys watching, you guys know, anytime we're always looking outside of us, or anytime we want to point the finger at anyone or anything that you feel is the source of your unhappiness, right? Like you've got one finger pointing out, three fingers pointing back. We always talk
I love
about
that.
what is this person, this thing, this event, whatever, it's reflecting something back within us, right? And
Right,
how you said relationships, and so how you do one thing is how you do everything. How
right,
you relationship at work is how you relationship at home with your
right,
kids,
right.
with your friends. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You just are not seeing the commonalities because they're different
Right,
circumstances, and
right.
but it doesn't matter.
Yes,
It's all there, right?
totally,
So
totally.
and that's what it looks like. So unhappiness
Mm,
looks like
mhm, mhm.
blaming other people. It looks like it's COVID's fault. It looks like it's Black
Exactly.
Lives Matter. It looks
Right.
like,
Yeah.
fighting with your spouse, right?
Yes.
So unhappiness looks like everybody else's fault. And so when
Right.
we start to realize that within us, we actually have the choice to be happy. It's like, what are you doing actually to make yourself happy besides just people? It's a
Right.
job.
Right.
You know what? In fact, let's just give everybody the response, the power back right now to be like, you know what? Let everybody in your life off the hook that it's their job to make you happy. Like even your
Mhm.
children, when they make their bed, if it makes you happy, you know what? To let them make the bed because they need to make their bed so that, they're not slobs, right?
Right.
They're
Right.
not doing it to make you happy because when you're not around, they're not going to make their bed anymore because there's not you shining down that big bright smile on them. Like you're going to
Right.
show up at their house for a visit and it's going to be a catastrophe, right? Because you're not there to,
Yes.
reciprocate, right?
Right.
So let's
Totally.
let's let the people in our lives off the hook and start to take responsibility for our own happiness. And so how do we do that?
Yes. And that has been a big thing that I have noticed even within myself with the pandemic is that even though things are unsettling, what has given me my power back is knowing that I do have that control. Like I get to control how much TV I watch. I get to control the messages that and the people that I listen to, you know. So it
Mhm.
goes back to because our stressors are going to be there, you know, that's what I always tell. So we need stress actually. So a moderate level of stress is actually healthy for us. So that's not going away anytime soon.
No.
It's not going away at
Yeah,
all.
there's good stress, bad stress. Like it's stress,
There
it's
is.
just stress. It's just experience.
Yeah, it is. It's how we respond to our stress. And, you know, I like to also think about like my best self. Like, how do I want to show up in this world? How do I want to show up as a mom? How do I want to show up as a partner? How do I want to show up as a business owner? You know, and then reverse engineer from that perspective. But it goes back to my control. What is in my control, you know? And so um one thing that I keep reminding myself and I go back to with my clients too is this concept of heal. And I was first introduced to this concept from Rick Hansen and in his book Resilient. And so it's very appropriately titled. I think I read it a few years back, and then I actually, once the COVID hit, I went back to it because it felt like I needed a refresher on things that would make me feel resilient. And so so this heal component, and this is something that it's now become second nature to me, and hopefully it could become second nature to other people, but it's something that I have held on to during this pandemic right now. And so the H, so the acronym is HEAL. So the H stands for have a positive, beneficial experience. So that could be literally in the moment, like live in action in person, or it could be, you go back to something in your mind, a positive experience in your mind, a beneficial experience in your mind. So you can either have it tangible or intangible. So have that experience. And so I think it's good to go back to these experiences in our mind, because again, that's our control. Like we get to flip the script, so to speak, and if you're having a really crappy situation, well, I can go back there. Just like that. So that's the H. The E is for enriching that moment. And so you stay with that feeling it fully. My clients tend to be just super, super busy. And whenever they express something that happened, where they actually felt happy or something positive happened, they glaze over really quickly. And so I'm constantly like, wait, hold on. Let's go back. Let's experience that a bit more. Where in your body do you feel it? Where can you enrich it? And then even, sometimes
anchor it,
anchor it
in there.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Yes.
Yes. Let's really,
love that.
Put that into our long-term memory, and so we can actually even lengthen it. So just a quick example, last night, my daughter was giving me a hug goodnight, and she came running in and she wrapped her little 2-year-old arms around me, and it just felt so good. And she was excited to go read a book with her dad. And so she pulled away, and I told her, like, no, hold on, mama wants to hold on a little longer, and it's also recognizing why this is so important, why this moment. We really do have gems all throughout our day, but why this moment? And so that moment was, I've just conditioned my brain to see these moments, but she's growing up so fast. They're growing up so fast, right? And so I keep hearing that all the time. And I'm like, I want to take this in, so I held on longer to her, and then I eventually had to let go, but that's essentially symbolic of lengthening those moments that we do have. The A in HEAL is absorb, so you're absorbing it, you're receiving it, literally receiving it into your body. So I'll give you another example. We have finally warmer weather here in Oregon, and there was one day where I had a really great cup of coffee, great tasting cup of coffee. I made a mental note to go outside into my porch and enjoy my coffee. So I opened the door and literally was faced with these rays. The sun was just beaming on my skin, and it literally felt like they were being absorbed into my body. And in the background, I can hear my kids, mama, 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 I need this, I need that, da, 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 da. But I literally just sat with that moment, because that moment felt like it was just for me. And again, I could fully receive it into my body. And it was just that mental shift for me, because when I turned back around and, carried on with my mama duties, I was in a different place, because I had that deep gratitude for that moment. Because I'm originally from Southern California. I'm a sunshine girl, tried and true. I need the sun. It makes me feel good. All of us really, but it felt like a moment just for me. So I was able to fully absorb it. And literally feel it into my body, and literally it was just seconds, but it gave me that little bit of pep in my step. It made me feel happy, right? So that's the H, the E, and the A, and the L. The L is optional. So the L is for linking. So the L stands for linking, and this step is to either soothe or replace a painful or harmful psychological experience. And so this, again, he goes over and says that it is optional because, you know, our brain is conditioned to, or oftentimes we go to negative, you know, negative experiences. That's all we can highlight and experience. Eventually, with having enough of these positive, happy moments, they can replace those negative experiences. But we don't want to move too quickly into it because, like I said, with the emotion, we want to feel it, we want to acknowledge it, we want to honor it, and then, you know, find another means of coping. But so that's the H.E.A.L, and that is something that I've literally trained my brain in every single day to find those gems and use the H.E.A.L acronym to not only acknowledge them, but to experience them, to feel them, to integrate them into my everyday life in the midst of a pandemic, racial divide, you know, all the things. So
I love that. And so because, and can we take it to a spiritual level there for a second?
yes.
Because, you know, we're always asking for what we want. I want more joy. I want more happiness. I want more time for myself. I want it. I want it. I want it. And then, you know, you don't do it. You
exactly.
you know,
right.
But when you said that, you know, so the universe is on your side. God is on your side. Everyone's listening to you. Everyone wants you to be happy. You're the one that's actually preventing it, stopping it. So the universe gives you all these little things. So this little absorption that you had, the vitamin D on your face and the whatever else, like you can absorb it, but let's give a whole new meaning. And how about we allow it? Because
I like that.
What happens is that if you allowed yourself to have that moment, you allowed yourself to have a positive, beneficial experience, you allowed yourself to enrich the moment, stay in it, feel it because it felt so good. Because most people would not. They would stop and tend to their children. Oh, I'm being beckoned. Oh, I'm being felt. Oh, they need me to go. But you know what? It's like they have conditioned you. You allowed them, then so cute, and then there's so little sweet faces and stages. They have they've manipulated you that when they cry, speak, whatever, we go, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we have to break that pattern and say, you know what? No, or else this is why probably animals eat their young. Right? It's because they've had enough and they're like, forget it, you're out. It's about me now. So
enough of you. I'm hungry.
We have to allow, I've been dieting all day. I have to allow myself the opportunity to receive those little gems that you're talking about to happen. They're there.
They're
there for the taking. They are in all day, every way, in every which way you could look around and see these gems if you choose to see them. If you choose to take the freaking 1 minute to allow yourself and and you keep doing that, like you said, it's a practice, right?
For sure.
Doing that over and over and over again. You were gonna see them all day. You're gonna be like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Just for 1 second.
Exactly.
Let it penetrate your eyeballs. Let it penetrate your nose, like that coffee, like you said. So lately, we're doing this whole self-care challenge, and I'm just like, you know, that 5 minutes with your coffee, like that first sip, like like orgasm over it. Like you don't have to like have a traditional orgasm to orgasm over any. The other day I made the most delicious smoothie and I swear to God my eyes crossed when I drank it. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So you don't have to, you know, you can take anything and make it beautiful as long as you allow it and choose to it. So I love that. And so yes, people have shit storms of stress in their life. Some people have more resistance, more friction, more challenges than others. Totally get that. And so, but those are there to grow you. Those are there so the more you can, and especially if they're from childhood, which is a little trickier and there's more healing and forgiveness to do. But these are when we talk about having to be very conscious, because in my group, we talk about how these limiting beliefs, these blocks back. And childhood trauma, lots of crap in your life definitely distract you a lot. So aside from doing that deep healing work, this is where you have to get very conscious and very purposeful in your attempts to find the joys and find the happiness in your life, because it's there as soon as you choose. And so when you have a positive, beneficial experience, which is just a memory in your life, and if you don't have one, what would one look like if you could create one? Some people might not have that. And I feel for them because, you know what, or maybe you've just had so many horrible ones that it's overshadowed and overcrowded them. But for me, my go-to is when my first daughter was born. No brainer. I'm just like sucked back, pink, beautiful, tears, right? Easy, no brainer. For children, younger people who maybe haven't had kids yet, maybe their positive beneficial experience might be different. Graduating from school or first time, if you can remember eating ice cream for the first time. For my girls, it was a litter of puppies that they got to spend a few hours with. They had like 3 puppies each. And every time they get sad or upset, and I love how you said name it to tame it. So I'm gonna do more of that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm feeling crappy. Let's stay there for a second. How does that feel? Okay. Do you want to stay here? No. You want to snap out of it? Great. Remember those puppies? Remember those puppies? All that I've got pictures and everything that you can go back and be like instant. So
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I do this even with my 3-year-old, my 3.5-year-old. I mean, at night, you know, we kind of reflect on the day and what was your favorite part of the day, or what was, you know, tell me about what happened, and kind of leaving him with those experiences that did bring him joy. So we're kind of conditioning him at a young age to think in that way. But I really love how you said, you know, the HEAL acronym is great, right? And I like how you added the A with allowing. And when you talked about our limiting beliefs, because this is great, you know, this is an awesome tool to have in your tool chest. But if you don't believe that you are worthy of these positive beneficial experiences, there's the block, you know. So yes, you know, I'm just saying this just to honor that it's not because I hear a lot of people, a lot of gurus are like, oh, just do this, just do that. And it's easy for us because we've kind of, not saying that I'm a guru, but like it's easy to kind of hear these things and say these things because we've been practicing it, we've done the work, you know, and it can go over people's head, you know. Yes, it sounds great, but I'm still struggling with not feeling good enough.
Easier said than done, Lori.
Yes, totally. Easier said than done.
Put
and I get
in
that.
my shoes for 5 seconds, right? Totally get that. I totally get that.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's where I go back to, again, the basics of, okay, what is it that you're feeling? I'm feeling frustrated because I'm hearing this and I can't do it. Okay. You're feeling frustrated there. Okay. And then from that place, then you can kind of unpack it. So, but it still is something that we can learn how to do because we do have these little gems in our day. It's just choosing to start to see it in a different light, you know?
Yeah. So. And you know what? And sometimes, you know, we have to recognize and realize that, you know what, no matter where we come from in life, because you know what, regardless of the skills and tools that I have that got away, you know, like I had to overcome something obviously to have these tools. Christina had to overcome something to have these tools. Like, you know, everyone comes with an childhood experience, an adolescence experience that they have to overcome, learn from. Everybody has gone through some stuff in their life, right? And it comes to a point where you have to make a choice though. Like, how much pain do you want to live in? So you could choose to live in pain forever and ever and ever and continue to be the victim and continue to say, oh, poor me, and this happened to me when I was a kid, and I'm sure it was horrible. But it has made you into the person that you are today. Right. And you've had to overcome all these things. You're still alive. You're still kicking. You've got lessons. You've got wisdom to share with other people. Right. So it comes to a point where you have to now be the hero of your own story and be the hero of your own life and start to take these little steps and say, you know what, especially if you have children, because your children are only going to grow up to have the life that you have right now. Same mindset, same mentality, same relationship. And so we are programming them. They're watching. And so more than ever, you know, I do this work for my children and I do it for me because I want to be a good role model. Does that make me perfect? No, I do the best that I can with the skills and tools that I have. And trust me, I'm prepared and ready. I'm not saving for their college. I'm saving for their therapy, because regardless of the efforts that I put into thinking that this is right for them, it might not be.
Right. Right.
And they might have their
Exactly.
own experience, right? Like I've
Yeah.
been divorced. Like they have their own story, their own path and everything else like that. But regardless, I'm going to
Totally.
do everything in my power to make myself happy because that's
Yep.
all there is. There
Right.
really isn't much else in terms of, giving to our children and giving to ourselves and giving to, you got to do the little things in life that make you happy, even in the
Mm-hmm.
smallest, littlest
Mm-hmm.
way. And it's funny because this week I'm doing that Tony Robbins comeback challenge. It's
Hmm.
so phenomenal.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard about
And
that.
he talks about, go, I'll send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
There's still 3 or 4 days left. He talks about how happiness is fleeting. It's
Right.
not consistent. And because like you
Yeah.
said, like we go through stuff. People, we have to deal with people.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that, right?
They're
Like, we have to
complex.
deal with people and not always the most positive people and not always the most loving people. And so
Exactly.
we have to deal with
Exactly.
other things. And so when we can't control other people, we can only control ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we always have to be doing something of progression. We always have to be
For
working towards
sure.
something because if
For
we're
sure.
not, there's no, like you said, there has to be resistance or else you don't
Mm-hmm.
see the good on the other side. Like that's
Yeah.
balance,
That's life. Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
what goes up must come down.
Right.
When you're upset, you have to find the happiness because if you
Right.
don't, then you're living in the shit. So,
Right.
and
Right.
there's no balance.
Right.
So, or harmony. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're constantly low, you have to find
Mm-hmm.
something. So do
Mm-hmm.
it for your kids, if for nobody else. And
Yes.
women do everything for their kids. But here's the tricky part is that you have to do it for you first.
Right. Right.
You
Exactly.
have to eat the vegetables. You have to exercise. You
Right.
have to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to others. You have to lead
Mm-hmm.
because they're not going to follow. They're not going to live a life like that. You can't tell
Right.
your kids to eat broccoli and then shove your face with chips at night when they go to bed. Like you
Right.
can't do
Right.
that. You have to be
Exactly.
integral with everything that you do. So
Exactly.
look at your life, look at your relationship, look at your job, look at every area of your life and say, is
Mm-hmm.
this the life that I want for my children?
Right.
And if
Right.
it's not, you need to do what you need to do to improve those areas so that you
Mm-hmm.
can model that behavior for your kids, even if it is divorce, even if it is, cutting ties from your family, even if it
Mm-hmm.
is the talk,
Mm-hmm.
making those tough decisions, right? And because we're talking about self-care versus self-love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
said, we were like, the self-cares are the 5 minutes and the journaling and the baths and the taking the time and the
Yep.
little absorbing moments,
Yeah.
sunbathing and getting grounding, putting your
Yep.
feet in the dirt and all those beautiful things and dancing. But on the flip side is
Mm-hmm.
self-love, which is what were you talking about? Some of the
Right.
self-love things that we can practice. You
Yeah.
were mentioning, you were telling me, tell me.
Yes, yes. So I mean, it was there's a couple things. Oh my gosh, you said so many things that I love. Um, well, the boundaries, the saying no, self-honoring choices. I don't know if you read Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I don't know if you know who she is.
Yes and no, not yet. I have not
Oh my
read
gosh,
it. I just
it's
have five
really
other books on the go.
I know.
But
But she says something because she was in a marriage before and she basically stayed in it for the kids. And then she realized, would I want this relationship for my kids? Right. And it was no. So then what the hell am I doing?
right.
And I just actually posted something on my personal Facebook about, I can't remember the quote exactly, but it was something about changing generational patterns,
Mhm.
and someone asked me a few years ago, like, what's my purpose here on life? Right. And I was like, oh gosh, that's a good question. And I think I have many purposes, but one of them is truly to, I do consider myself a cycle breaker. I have many cycles and generational patterns that I do not, and generational trauma that I don't want to inflict on my children. And sometimes I realize it is seeping through and I need to do something to correct that. Like
Mhm.
the buck stops with me, as much as I possibly can. I'm not going to be perfect. Things are going to just continue and that's okay. Doing the best that I can. But I know damn well that I do not want to continue with certain patterns. And again, well, if I don't want that, and I know that that is so strong and I feel so deeply into it, well, then what am I doing to change those patterns? Well, changing those patterns comes in the form of, like, I didn't grow up seeing, women loving their bodies. No one ever in my family, women love their bodies, you know? So I have to be a different role model and example of that. Self-sabotaging, putting needs aside. You know, I grew up with, I love my mother and grandmothers, but they were the first ones to put their needs aside, like all the time, you know. In my family, food is how you express your love. Well, as long as especially the men were fed, then the women were kind of like just eating like the rest. Like, no, I do not want that. I do not want that for my family. You know, my needs come first. And I know that. But then now, like you said, I need to show my kids that my needs come first, or my needs are important too, not just
That's right.
yours, you
Yeah.
know? So
Me
it's
too, in
me
so many
too,
different ways.
me too.
Not just
Yeah,
me first, me too.
me too, me too. So it's more of that. Sorry, me too is
Yeah, no,
actually
I
better.
get that. Yeah.
Yes, so it's uncovering those things that we really want to change, because yes, like you said, we all have a story that we would rather not experience, or we wish that never happened, um, but it did. And what are we going to do with that, and how are we going to change as a result of that? You know, because I've definitely been in situations where clients like to stay in that role excuse me, of that victim mentality, but it served a purpose, and I understand that it was a protective mechanism. But that protective mechanism is preventing you from seeking love again, is preventing you from going out and getting a job, is preventing you from, you know, all of these things. So yes, that story, that victim mentality, it has been a protective mechanism for you, a coping mechanism, but it's not helping you thrive,
No,
you know,
it's holding
so
you back from your
it's holding you
happiness,
back.
right? When you
Mhm.
can look at why am I not happy right now? Simple. Just sit and reflect. And I, you know what, and in all of these things, right? And especially you work with women who are go, go, go. I work with
Mhm.
success driven and ambitious women. We're all in our
Mhm.
heads all the time. So we're in our heads
Yes.
trying to figure
Yes.
out how, trying to figure out how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I
Yep.
going to make this all work? How am I going to have it all? How am I going to do me too? How am I going to,
Right.
right? So like, okay. So first thing you need to do is you need to stop. You
Pause.
stop and just get out of your head for 2 seconds and feel.
Mhm.
How
Right.
do you want to feel after
Right.
you do all the things? So
Yes.
you're always working on the next thing. You said
Yeah.
we're so quick to, oh, we accomplished that. Great. What's next? Oh, we
Yes.
did that. What's next? Oh, okay. So
Exactly.
we're not focusing on the accomplishments. That's number one.
Mhm.
But the other thing too is that okay, so but now we're always stuck in the not enough, right? Because we're
Mhm.
always trying to figure out what's the next thing. And so
Right.
because you don't have what's next, you're feeling not enough in the moment, which is really the whole point of all of
Mhm.
this is the
Mhm.
not enough feeling, right? We're
Right.
not enough
Right.
for our spouses, we're not enough for our kids, we're not enough for
Yeah.
everything, right?
Mhm.
So if you could take just 5 minutes and say, okay, I don't know how I'm going to get to the next point because if I did, I'd already be there. So I don't know
Mhm.
how I'm going to get there.
Right.
So what's it going to look like when I get there? So could we
Yep.
take just 1 minute,
Mhm.
literally, and just get into the feelings? Let go of the not enough, let go of the not happiness, let go of, what your spouse did or didn't do this week to drive you nuts. Probably left some socks on the couch and that was it. Lost it, right? Like, look, you can't go out grocery shopping without a mask. Can't go, you know what I mean? You have
Yep.
to stand in line now. Like, I don't know if this doesn't end by winter, what the fuck we're gonna do in Canada, but we're shit up. That's gonna be bad. But
Mhm.
I'm moving
Mhm.
back to California with you, maybe.
No, I'm going up north.
So, take a moment to get out of the not enoughness. You're enough.
Yes.
You're so enough where you are. You're enough for your kids. You're enough for your spouse. You're enough for
Mhm.
everybody. You're enough for you. You're enough. But you got to get into the feeling of what celebrate some stuff, move forward, looking forward, what it is that you want to accomplish, what that's going to feel like. Because
Mhm.
those are the moments, those fleeting moments that escape us that I think that, doing that journal at nighttime, right? Self-care. Just take
Mhm.
5 minutes.
Right.
This is the whole self-care challenge that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Literally take 5 minutes a day and
Yes.
just pause for you, absorb.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, you know, get enriched, feel
Yeah.
it, do all
Yes.
these things that she just said, right?
Yes.
When you're
Yes.
feeling negative, name it. I'm pissed. Tell your spouse, tell your kids, that didn't feel very good. It hurts my feelings when you talk to me that way. It hurts my
Mm-hmm.
feelings. And I love that you know, enjoy, yes, enjoy those embraces. Cause now when my kids are 13 and almost 11,
Mm.
when they come for a hug, I like Velcro on them and I'm like headlocking them and they're like, Mom, let go, let
Get off. I
go.
know. I know. That's why I'm doing it. Yeah.
It does, it goes. So
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
experience those negative emotions, but you got to find ways to move through them, because if you don't let them go, you're just going to sit in it, and then this is why we're not happy, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. And I think what you said about, just giving yourself those 5 minutes, what I often find with a lot of my clients is the not enoughness.
mhm,
And again, once we've unpacked that, we can understand their family of origin kind of led them to not believing that they're enough. Right. And so even saying, okay, I'm enough, it hasn't registered. Right. And so
right,
it's
that's
okay.
a conscious
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
it's okay. It hasn't
Mhm.
registered, and that's okay. It's a foreign concept. Again, it's okay, but you can learn to practice this. Because I will definitely say, throughout my journey, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, it felt very foreign. But now, over time, practicing in and out, and like you said, I want to feel worthy. I want to feel enough. Well, I need to start doing the things that can help me feel that. So let me do those things, and then eventually it'll start to really seep in. Again, it's like linking those, like what he was saying, linking those negative experiences with the
Be
positive.
willing,
Be
just be
willing.
willing to
Yeah.
try, just
Yeah.
try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, because eventually
Exactly.
you'll succeed. Eventually you will
Right.
feel that
Right.
way,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's a
Exactly.
practice. Nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
happens overnight. It's like eating. We diet and then we fall. We eat the
For
crap. And
sure.
then,
For
you know,
sure. We
if
break
we're
all
not,
the bread, make all the bread.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, but at some point you say enough is enough. I need to do
Yes.
something about this, and then we're like, okay. So be kind to yourself. It's a process. It's a
Right.
practice. And
Yes.
you have to start somewhere. So don't beat yourself up that you've been negative and you're not living the life that your kids deserve.
Right.
Da, da,
Right.
da, 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 da. Okay, great.
Right.
Then just
Yes.
take this as a moment of like, oh my gosh, okay, so now I can start. Okay,
Right.
now
Right.
with the
And
little steps.
that's something that I mentioned briefly, but I often tell clients, okay, what is like, let's envision your best self. Okay, so let's say
Mhm.
that looks like you're a confident person. And then something I often say is, okay, let's reverse engineer from that. So if you want to be confident, like envision like your most confident person that you know. All right, so now what do we need to do to get to that point? Well, there's
Yeah.
some change that has to happen. You can't just keep doing the same things expecting a different result. You have to start relating to yourself in a different way. Okay, so I'm confident. Well, when shit hits the fan, I know how to handle that. All right, well then let's practice that. So it's recognizing how you do want to feel. I often tell clients, you're heady, you got to, you're up here, you got to go here. let's
Get out
let's
of your
tap
head
into it, get
and
out of
into
your
your
head.
heart or your body.
Yes, yes,
That's a
yeah,
masculine feminine thing too,
for
right?
sure,
Which
for
is a
sure,
whole
yeah,
nother
yeah, it's
show,
a
which
whole
I feel like me and you could talk forever.
I know, seriously.
But I thank you so much for
Yes.
taking the time today to talk to us. I know we've already gone over time, but I don't care. But I want to just like recap, getting back to the basics, guys, about,
Yes.
recognizing your negative emotion, feel it, it's okay, just tame it. As
Yep.
soon as you acknowledge it, you're going to move through it, right?
Yes.
Really, I
Yes.
believe that too.
Yes.
And noticing really what fills you up, doing the things that really make you happy, the small little things
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
over time turn into big things, right?
Right. Totally.
And,
Totally.
and if you don't have a positive, beneficial experience, or, we call it the happiest moment of our life, like now's a great time to be like, reflect and be like, hey, what was some really good times in my
Mm-hmm.
life? Like start
Mm-hmm.
to think about that. You'll
Right.
find me, I'm sure
You
of it. Like,
will. You
you can't
will.
think it off the top of your head,
You will. Yep.
right? And enriching your moments and staying with
Mm-hmm.
it and giving yourself a minute to feel the sun on your skin. Stop and smell the flowers. Stop and touch the flowers. Have you ever
Right.
really just stopped and touched a flower and felt it and seen how beautiful it is? As soon as
Yeah.
you start to see the beauty in things, that's beauty from within, because we're only looking
Totally.
outwards, right? So find
Totally.
beauty in things allow. You got to give yourself the permission, you guys,
Permission. Yes.
right? To absorb all these things. Give
Right.
yourself a little bit of permission to do these things because you're the hero. You are only going to give yourself the permission.
Totally. Totally. No one else.
So
Yep.
thank you, Christina,
I
so
love
much
this.
for
Yes.
giving us
Thank you
these
so much for
fantastic
having
skills and
me.
tools. And you know what, if you want to come back and talk about any other topic now that
Oh,
you're
I'd love
thinking, you're
to.
like, oh, I want to talk more about
I
this.
know, right?
You know what you do? Just fill in the time slot and the podcast, and we'll get together again. So thanks so
Sounds
much. I know
great.
we had a few watchers all through. So
Okay.
if you have any questions, Christina, do you have a gift or a giveaway or anything like that? We can add it into the comments at the end. I know she has a
Yes.
fantastic resource
Yes, I
to
have a few.
share.
Yeah, it's out of the office, how to disconnect from work and how to leave work at work, whether you're
Yeah.
working from home or you're still out in the
Take off
office.
the hat, get out of your
Yes.
head, into your
Yes.
heart, get out of the
Yes.
masculine, into the feminine. Love it. So
Mhm.
she's going to share that. We're going to put that in the comments after this. And
Mhm.
so, right, enjoy the rest of the
Yes.
summer, guys. These podcasts now
Yeah.
move to Tuesdays. So we'll see you then. All right,
Thank
I'm just
you.
going to get off live. You stay there.